them bright whites.
Welcome.
There we go. Hey, nice glasses, Judy. Looking good. Pink on pink.
Day
All right.
17. I cannot believe time is flying by.
I
But
know.
so are the deals. The deals are coming. We got some exciting stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, I called a couple of you all. I just randomly cold called some of you and just said, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" Seeing who's taking action and not. So that's how you know you might get a call here and there and just say, "Did you make the damn calls? Yes or no?" So we're watching.
If
We're
you're cool
watching,
with Leo
bro.
calling to give you a little kick in the butt, give us a thumbs up. Everybody cool with that? All right. Some of them ain't okay with that, bro. I think some of them's a little worried about this kick in the butt. Everybody's good with that. This is
All
fun.
right.
Day 17. Let's jump in. Let's start
Yeah.
off. Go ahead, Leo.
Let's rock and roll. First of all, hold up the beverages. I got two beverages going. I got my water, which doesn't look like water, but it is, I promise. Then I got some coffee here. Rocking and rolling. There we go. All right. Everybody put in the chats. Let's do this. What is something you're grateful for? Put in the chat. What is something you are grateful for today? Attitude of gratitude. It is not woo-woo. It is actually one of the greatest gifts that we have is to just be appreciative of what we have, being able to breathe, being able to have all our, working organs and being able to be on technology, all these things, the attitude of gratitude, and actually a certain mindset that changed my life is something that I want to talk about. Completely off our schedule, Andrew, but I was listening to some of the videos today that I used to listen to a couple years back just to
Hmm.
like refresh my memory of like what is the abundance mindset and what is the scarcity mindset and what is the difference and how that changed my life. So I want to talk about that for the people who are here early, for the 95 of you who are on. And I want to read off some of your gratitudes as well. Family, health, being alive, and having God in our lives. Absolutely. Waking up and seeing the people I love. My cats, they're my therapist. Absolutely. Michelle is my therapist. I see air conditioning. I see super blessed to be alive. I see all these different things. Okay. That's what I love to see.
Welcome to the new ones. There's quite a few new people on here today, and if it's your first or second day, welcome. It's just getting to the good stuff.
Absolutely. Welcome in. I was on my walk this morning and for myself in my personalized morning routine, when I do a walk, I that's my time where I talk to God, I ask for blessing, ask for guidance, and I send blessings to other people. And then I realized, we started this off with a prayer, and of course we always end off our events with a prayer. But I think we're what, a fourth of the way down. Third, I'm not the best at math, but I think a fourth of the way done or a third, however that math works out. I think we
Fourth.
should do we should do another prayer here in this time and as we welcome the new people coming in so you guys know what we're all about, really what we're doing and what we're doing it for. So Andrew, if you want to go ahead, lead us in a quick prayer before we get going for day 17.
Day 17. Absolutely. Let's do it. God, thank you. Thank you for every one of these amazing individuals who are on here. Thank you for the last 17 days well, 16 days that we got to hang out together. This is 17. You're just so good to us, and you continue to bless us every day. You give us wisdom, you give us knowledge, you get us to be able to be surrounded by amazing people, opportunities for growth, and opportunities to be blessed that we might bless others in a bigger way than we ever thought possible. And I thank you for that. It makes me smile even just saying that, because so many of us are now living the life that we previously only could have dreamed of. And that's thanks to you. Thank you for health, for life, for food, just for everything you give us. Thank you for technology where we get to connect every single day from all across the country. Thank you for being good and thank you for being God. We love you. In Christ's name we say amen.
Amen. Let's rock and roll. Okay. So we're going to be going over what makes the difference between somebody who is able to be successful in this business and someone who's not able to be successful. And we're going to be going over a couple deal reviews. And then we're going to talk about partnerships as well. How do partnerships work? We're going to talk about me and Andrew's partnership, but also you guys, because a lot of you guys are doing deals together. A lot of you guys are doing deals with our coaches. A lot of you guys are doing JV partnerships. So how do we make those work? How do we structure those partnerships? and what to do when a deal goes wrong. But before we do all that, let's talk about the abundance mindset, Andrew, because that changed my life when you showed it to me, but also you kept me accountable to living in abundance and not living in a mode of scarcity. Even when I
Hmm.
was at my lowest points, you still told me not to live in a scarcity mindset. Be creative because the more you can create, the more you can put your mindset in a place where you know there's more, there's always more out there, is when you can move in such speed, such efficiency, such effectiveness without having this drag of a mentality. So talk about that for just a moment here.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for those of you taking notes, write this down. And that is abundance. And below that, write, I must believe it before I see it. I say that because I talk about abundance. Some of you are already in that mode. Some of you guys are already doing well as you're turning deals, you're growing, and I'm proud of you guys for that. Some of you are looking to get your first deal. And something happens when we go from scarcity of I got to protect what little I got to abundance. And I want you to write this down. Give what you most need. That's a huge one. When you begin to truly believe abundance, you will live it. Give what you most need. The days that I've been the most depressed in years past, I would go to the grocery store and purposely give somebody a smile, a compliment, or somebody that needed it, a hug, whatever it was, to spread what I most needed in that moment. Now I do that by habit. I just love making others smile. When I most needed money, I would purposely go give money that I couldn't afford to give, even if it was $5, $10, $20 to someone in need. I give it back to God in some way because it always, always, always puts into action what you say you believe. And so the moment we step from scarcity to abundance, our reality soon must catch up because you cannot live in abundance here and live in lack in life very long. Just like if you're living in lack in your mind, even if you acquire some deals and some money, you're going to constantly be in lack in your mind. It's so powerful that you step into abundance before you see it because faith only works when it's about something we don't see. Because if we could already see it, it wouldn't be faith. Except that's part of the way that we're tested is by seeing if we have the willingness to accept what we can't yet see and step into that. So abundance is the biggest shift you can make. And the reason I prefaced it that way is because I've said that to people before, talking about abundance. And, I've heard the chatter of, oh, easy for you to say where you are now. And while I am grateful for everything I've been given, if you rewind to 2014, I had to learn to step into abundance when I didn't have the money to buy my next meal and had to go figure out how I could get a credit card to take care of it. I had to live in abundance when I went to a seminar that I landed and didn't know how I was going to get to pay for the hotel when I got there. And I had to go, all right, I got to figure this out. I don't know how, but this is going to happen. I know I need to be here, so I'm going. And so if you can really truly step into abundance, you will begin to attract deals, connections, partnerships, and relationships that you never otherwise dreamed possible.
But let's look into that a little bit because you hear that all the time when you are in a mindset of abundance, you attract these things. And it starts to in the beginning, I was like, what do you mean I'm going to attract the things? It doesn't work like that. But then my logical mind had to be explained. Leo, if you are in an abundance mindset, you will think that there is more out there. So you will have conversations as if there are more. You will give more. You will talk more. You will be more friendly with people. When you're talking with someone, you'll talk about the deals that you want to do, not about how shit, I'm $18,000 in debt. You won't talk about those things. You're only going to talk about what's forward because what's forward is what's going to wipe out that debt that you have. Now that abundance mentality, as you're talking to people, now they're looking at you like, wow, this guy is full of energy. He has a lot going for him because you're showing up. I might have zero in my bank, but I'm still going to show up and say, these are the things I'm going to do and I'm ready to go. Who do you know? Here's who I know. I'm going to give you everything that I know, right? And that is how every single time you can pick yourself back up on your feet and make sure you're thinking in the direction of where you want to go. Stop thinking about all these things because you're always going to get pulled back. in that direction. And we know this that if you put all philosophy together, there's one thing that all of it agrees on, and it is you become what you think about. So stop thinking about your past. Stop thinking about all the things of why you can't do it or the excuses. Start just thinking of, hey, what if this really worked out? I know in 2 years I'm going to be very successful. So why can't today I start acting like that? If I know it's going to come anyways, I might as well just walk like it. You know what I mean? I might as well just smile like I got $1 million smile and I could do deals. I'm great on the phones because that's what we do. If you and I sat in a coffee shop and you started acting like you already had it, I would have no other thought than you have it. And we would treat each other that way. That is why you connect people. That's why you attract deals. That's why you attract money. That's why you attract good stuff to you because you just start acting like it and you stop acting broke.
That's why we don't allow complainers and negative people around us. And when those people come around and want help, we quickly turn that attitude because we don't do negativity. We don't do complaining because what you focus on, you get more of. And the moment you say, I am abundant, you're going to go call them leads and act like you expect them to say, absolutely, I would love to sell you my house on terms. And every 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 calls, somebody's going to say yes. And you're going to go, oh, crap. In your mind, hopefully you don't say it out loud. You go, oh, crap. I didn't expect them to say yes. And so somebody's going to say yes because you're expecting the best and you're stepping into that abundance before it is your physical reality. That's a
I want,
huge takeaway.
I want to ask you guys something, and I want you guys to participate here if you can. Give me a thumbs up if before I even say anything that you will participate here. Give me a thumbs up. Okay. For a moment, just pay attention to your body, to pay attention to how you're sitting or how you're standing. I'm standing because I don't like to sit sometimes because it lowers my energy. But however you're standing or sitting, how would you sit if you know you had 1 million in the bank? How would you sit right now if you know you had all the opportunities and that you had the most beautiful people around you and great people? How would you sit right now? Right? How would you smile if you know you were in the best health? If you know that you had these deals in the works and everything was in a good position, you had the best attorneys, the best tax strategists, the best personal trainers, the best coaches, the best friends all around you. How would you sit and how would you smile right now? Okay. Now, how would you breathe? How would you be breathing knowing that you have a great, great future ahead of you, that you have these deals on board, that your skill set is growing, that you're actually the best version of yourself right now and you're only going to get better? How would you breathe? Now, what if these three things of how you sit, how you breathe, how you look, how you smile is just how you continued from the rest of your life starting today? Because your physiology is so important. Pay attention to how you feel right now. Pay attention to how you feel. You probably feel just a little bit better than before you were sitting here idle, just listening, just watching, versus now you're alive. You feel your feet, you feel your head, you feel your hands, you feel your breath, and now you're ready to go. So now when you say, I want to make a call, now it's you saying that. It is you saying that. And you can pay attention that that is what I just said. So I'm going to make the call. Now you're attentive. You're aware of everything you're doing. And if you don't do it, you'll be very aware that you did not do it. And you can start asking yourself, why didn't I do it? It's because I got tired. It's because this call came up and I just didn't want to do it anymore. Oh, I forgot. So the excuses start to go away. So that's how we wanted to start our first 15 minutes, which is energy with rolling. But honestly, if you guys can keep that up for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week, for the rest of the year, it will be the best year you've ever had in your entire life. I swear. I put that on everything because we've seen it. We've done it ourselves because we were in a very low point. Andrew's been in a very low point. I've been in a very low point, and we've been there. But we've been taught how to have an abundance mentality even at the lowest times. And we've been taught how to make sure our physiology is one of abundance, one of having it all. Because we got to get there first. We got to act like it first. We got to feel it first, and then it's going to come.
And I love starting with this because of the fact if you don't start with this, even if, and by the way, a lot less people will succeed if you don't get this right. But even a few of you who might go out and grind and bang it out and get a deal, believe me, checks don't solve the internal turmoil. And so this is so freaking vital, guys. Somebody may have thought, what's this have to do with the real estate? And it is everything. It has to do with everything in your business. when you get this right, and you can get on the phone and you can take somebody angry that you called them and let it not bother you, you're on to the next one. You're going to buy more deals. When you get on the phone and it's as if you already made your first million, then who cares that that person didn't sell to you? The next one is going to. You're going to go from begging to closing the deal that is a win-win because you're no longer in that mindset of constant need.
Of course. So let's dive into our next topic, which is going to be partnerships. Now,
Absolutely.
you could tell me and Andrew, we kind of know how to bounce words off of each other. When I'm done, he knows when to speak. When he's done, I know when to speak, and we kind of know how to balance that. And that's because me and Andrew have found the ability to work with each other's personalities, even though it's very different. We have found the ability to do that, and that's what has made a good business partnership and a friendship. Now, as you guys are going to be partnering with different people on different deals or different businesses, it's going to be very vital to understand the main key points of what makes a partnership work. And I do believe that me and Andrew will both fundamentally agree that communication, real, candid communication, is the absolute foundation of what makes it all work. So let's talk about that, Andrew. Let me know your thoughts. I'll bounce off of that.
Yeah, I think communication is definitely a key component. I would say another one is having a similar set of values, communication and values.
Hmm.
To me, if those two things, you could have the best communication, the best value system in the world, but if your communication sucks, you're going to hate your partnership. If the tables were flipped and you both have great communication, but you have drastically different value sets, that's still a struggle. And so communication is the foundation because that's how you're going to find out everything else. And if you can't communicate, then you'll never go further. So asking great questions without ego and sincerely looking for an answer, not asking questions to hope to get somewhere, or not asking questions to try to make a point, but sincerely asking genuine questions, just looking for a genuine answer and ego set aside, I think is the absolute key component for a foundational partnership that will work. And following your gut, when you're talking to someone, if you're going to enjoy hanging out with this person, just talking to a great friend of mine that Leo and I are working with on some projects, an incredible guy. I've known him for many years. And I sat there for 2 hours in his office talking through this thing we're working on. And I literally, it was hard to leave. We was having so much fun talking about business. That's the kind of people we love doing business with. Leo and I love to go to Bali or Italy and hang out and see cool things. And so when you can do things that you genuinely enjoy, and you can imagine sitting down with this person and having lunch with them and just enjoying yourself doing that, that is a huge piece of a partnership.
You and your partner will create the culture that number one, your company will follow, how you guys do things, and really the boundaries that are set within a partnership. It's very important to understand those things. So communication and values. So let's start with communication. So me and Andrew, of course, have been working together for about 4 years, but the communication has built every single day, but really every year it's grown. But you quickly find out, is this someone I can communicate with or not? But we also have to do a huge self-discovery for ourselves to understand if we can, is it us? Are we the problem? Are we the reason that I can't communicate with this person? In this group, we have focused so much on self-development. Why? So much on being able to communicate. Why? Because so many of you are partnering and doing deals together. And of course, some of you work with us, some of you coach with us, and we help you do more deals. However, all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are in our world that are connecting every day and doing deals, they're all also doing self-development. They're also working on their communication skills. They're also understanding their values and their means of faith and spirituality. They know they are working on these things. So when you talk to each other, you at least come with a common ground of personal development and working on the problem. When that is the case, you guys are able to solve things at a deeper level. When both of you are doing self-development, you understand sometimes I'm the problem and how can we solve that? So now me and Andrew's communication is simply, how do you feel? What's going through your mind? And just for a moment, I think that's a really big question for you guys to write down. Even if you already do it, just write it down one more time. What's going through your mind? Sometimes we just got to ask that question. What's going through your mind? How do you feel? Because we have so much on our mind and we have the things that we feel on our mind. And the biggest problem is that we don't know what's going through that person's mind and we're just going to assume and we're going to throw words out. But if I can just simply give the person the ability to let me know what's on our minds, that's going to solve so many problems because I want to tell the person what's going through my mind, but we're conditioned not to give it out, not to say the wrong things, right? Because when did we have the most anxiety is when we were in school and in class and we didn't want to get the wrong answer on the test. Because if we got the wrong answer on the test, we got punished for it. We got a grade for it. So we're conditioned not to say the things that we really mean, not to say the things on our mind. So when you could break out of that barrier and do it for the other person first, make the other person comfortable first. Andrew, what's going through your mind? How do you feel? He'll tell me exactly what's going through his mind. I'm feeling a little bit stressed out, or I feel good about this, or I think this is a good idea. I think we're ready to go. I agree. I agree. Let's do it. That's the key in communication for a great partnership. Andrew, let's talk about values.
Absolutely. Let me add one more thing about communication first. Write this down. Remove ego, remove the but. Here's what I mean by that. Remove ego means if I have ego and someone challenges me on something, who I know it comes from a heart of pure intent, of love, appreciation, and somebody who has a good interest in mind, I'm going to accept that thing if I removed ego. If I have ego, I may take it as a personal attack, which is really just an insecurity. Removing the but means if you are late to a meeting, now, if you're late to 100 meetings, one of those times, maybe you left 15 minutes early, you was on your way to the meeting, there was a horrible accident, you had to wait for the police, like, okay, there's going to be that one out of 100, right? But the other 99 was just pure crap excuses. And letting your partner be able to call you out on that is huge. Because what's the first thing many times, we're in a society that seems to be so easily offended in some groups. And it's so important that we don't do that, because if we are easily offended or we sit here and we want to make an excuse, why did you make that decision? Or you was late to this meeting. Yeah, well, I was, but my Zoom had to update. Okay, what, you're late to the meeting again. Well, I was, but I had a meeting run over. There's always a reason, right? It always sounds great in our mind. But if we'll let our partner call it out, I didn't close the deal. Sure, it was because the seller said this or wasn't ready for that, but ultimately I didn't close the deal. Who gives a crap why I didn't get the check? And so if we can really remove that need to over-explain ourselves, it's a very huge point in taking responsibility in a partnership. So I wanted to point that out because I think that's a very big nugget in communication. In the value system, I think it's important to make sure that your values are similar. One of my very top values is loyalty. One would be, call it whatever you will, but doing what you say and saying what you do. If I'm working with someone that doesn't value that the same way, we're going to be in an imbalance. One of my, I don't know that you would call it a value, but one of my traits is always overgiving. If you're an overgiver and your partner is all the opposite, always making sure they're getting the better end of the deal, then it isn't going to work because one person's always going to be shorted. In our case, I think it's very fair to say the person, both of us are very much overgivers. And so if it's up to me, I will make sure Leo always has the better end of the deal. And if it's up to him, he'll make sure I always have the better end of the deal. And so the fact we know that about each other, we know that's a power balance. And that's a very important thing to know who you're dealing with when it comes to that value system. And it doesn't mean someone else is bad if they're not that way. It just means you need to know that. because you got to look out for yourself too. And when you're equally with a partner in such a way that they're looking out for you as much or more than you are, and vice versa, it becomes a very, in a good way, a selfless partnership that makes it work very well because you know you always have each other's backs. That to me is very important, and it comes back to loyalty.
This is one of the greatest things that we can be learning right now. And when every single time we have one of these calls, me and Andrew ask, how can we serve today? What's the biggest thing that we can serve? What would what would we have charged hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s for in consulting for this? And we give it out here. And that's really our goal. And one of the greatest things is understanding your values as a person and almost defining them for yourself. Out of the 10, 20, 30 years, however long you guys want to go back, what has been the mean and the average of your decisions? What drives those decisions? If something were to come up, if there was a position in your life where you could choose to get the better end of the deal or give the other end of the deal to that person, what would you do? And just ask yourself every one of those questions so you understand yourself first.
And be
Because
able to honestly answer yourself.
which is the hardest part, right? Because we want to answer of who we want to be. And that's why personality tests sometimes are skewed because we'll answer the way that we want to be, and then we'll get a different personality that it tells us, and we'll be like, oh, that's our personality. But when you can finally gain that true self-awareness and take a personality test, for example, you'll get a lot of good details. That's when personality tests actually work, is when you're honest with yourself. And the values that me and Andrew have combined and built were based on our everyday decisions. Based on our everyday decisions. Do we go to the gym? Right? Are we working out? Are we taking care of ourselves? How do we view other people? How do we converse with other people? How do we do deals? How do you do business? How are you working every day? What's your work ethic like? For Andrew, he we were a bit different here. He would work from 5 a.m. until 10 p.m. and he still does it to this day. I've never seen anyone work harder than Andrew in my entire life.
You're hurting my reputation, man.
For myself, like some I'll work I'll work in those same hours. Andrew's taught me how to work harder, right? But I've also taught him how to take more breaks. We have been able to teach each other those scenarios. But you have to be able to bring those things to your partnership. We have the idea of what can this person do for me, but really stand in the idea of what can I bring to this person? What can I bring to this? Because you could bring so much to everybody that comes around you, and that's when you become a leader. When you know you bring value to anyone who comes into your life. And that's when confidence starts to really build in. Because when you meet someone, whether they like you or not, I'm still going to live. I'm still going to add so much value, and it's really your loss if we don't connect, because you probably over our lifetime probably would have made a couple more $1 million, or you probably could have, you know, done all these cool things. If you have that mentality for everyone that meets you, that is the abundance mentality, even on the phone calls with these sellers. That's why you don't need this deal necessarily, and you have to trick yourself in that scenario. You don't need this deal, but this person probably does need me, and I'm gonna see how I can solve your problem here. And that's when you can almost calm down in your conversations and have this tonality. And it goes same thing with relationships, same thing with friendships, same thing with partnerships. Know the value that you can bring. And that's why every day we build these skills. We
I
build the skill
remember
sets.
I
Go
was
ahead,
over
Andrew.
checks going to the house to buy it in my mind, all the way there in my car that I was struggling to make the payments on. I was going, they need me worse than I need them. They
That's
need
right.
me worse
You
than I
got to
need them.
trick yourself sometimes. You really do. You really do. And this is why we like to explain mindset in a different way rather than just putting up a bunch of quotes. While quotes do help, but we really like to explain it in a way where, okay, you can start to gain the self-awareness. You can ask yourself the right questions, right? We have well, it's time up now, but we'll take some questions. These times go by so fast.
Let's do questions and answers. I want to note tomorrow, and Lawrence, I'm just going to call you right in just a few minutes after this. Forgive me, our time got away on us. I will be calling you right after this, actually a few minutes after this for your deal. And on tomorrow, we're going to be talking about reverse engineering a deal. The reason that's so important, because some of you have contracts now. Others of you are working on contracts. In the meantime, you can find buyers with money, potentially joint venture up on here, and both of you guys get paid. I know I said a lot there in one sentence, but we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So questions, who has questions? Let's get to the questions.
All right. First question today comes from Victor. He says, what is the best values or culture in an ideal relationship?
Go ahead, Leo.
I would say the ones that you follow, because they're your values. However, I'll tell you the ones that we have found do the best for others. It's real integrity, not just like the words integrity that you look up on Google and like, what does integrity mean? Oh yeah, I'll just do that. But real, like, okay, how do you base your decisions? Is it really based on honesty? Do you really base your decision on trying to improve yourself? If so, I know I can work with you for a long time because you're coachable, because you're honest, and because we'll always try to do the right thing. At least we'll try to do the right thing. Then we'll get to the place where we can find a common ground. So integrity, number one. And for myself, I honestly like someone who has faith, who has a strong faith. For me, if you have a strong faith in God, it's a lot easier to work with you because I kind of know where your background comes from. And then if you are, what's the last one? What is the last one? Faith, integrity, and I don't know the last one. It'll come to me in a second. And how about you, Andrew?
That's good. Almost the same. And again, I think that's one of the reasons we became
Freedom.
great friends. Freedom. That's good.
If you love this country, I know we can work together really well. Freedom. That's what it
That's
is.
very important. That's very important because again, that comes back to open and honest communication. If I can't communicate with somebody, we can't be doing a lot of stuff together. So
Freedom,
that's
baby.
freedom. All right. What's next?
All right. Next question comes from KJ. He says, thank you for the conversation on partnerships. My question is, how do you gain the insight that you both speak of when the circumstances have not yet to allow in-person interactions?
I think it's important to ask great questions, to spend some time together and do a deal together. Just partner up with somebody. We partner with our community, our mastermind students, because we know them. They've been through the interview. We partner with our 90-day accelerator students because we know them. We've been through the interview and they know what to bring us. We just partnered with random people who we've never met. Unfortunately, we're going to spend 3 months training them on what to bring us, and they're going to send us a bunch of crap that we can't work on. So for you, it's having conversations, finding out what kind of person this person is and what their goals are. And so the first conversation with someone you think might be a partner is every conversation should be about them and what they want, what their dreams and ambitions are. And for me, if somebody tells me a certain set of dreams, I know that that's probably not a fit because we're not in alignment. If they tell me a different set of dreams that is in alignment, I know that that has potential.
Yeah,
All
do
right.
a late night Zoom as well. See when they're with their family, how they are, and try to find out when they're stressed and talk to them. See if they'll try to pull at some strings. Find them in a stressful time. That's one of the best ways you can really see someone is when they're stressed with family, stressed financial, stressed in any of the scenarios. See if they can pull it together because you guys will be in very stressful times together for many times in your partnership.
All right, great question here from Bruce. He says, how do I respond to this from a seller? I might be interested in something like this, but with no background information on you, on your corporation, I'm leery to begin something like this. There's no website or address or any evidence that you have experience in this. Unless you can provide something in that manner, I wouldn't be interested in moving forward.
Oh, I love this one. This is the writer downer. All right. So you guys get your pens and papers ready. First off, when somebody says that to me, I chuckle. I would immediately chuckle and I'd say, oh, I got it. No worries, and I don't blame you. So let me ask you this: assuming that, first off, I forgive me, I should have told you we're going to close with a real estate attorney, and I use so and so attorneys. Of course, I would reference my credibility sections, but if you're newer, I know you, Bruce, have done several deals, so I would just be blatantly transparent. And any credibility piece you got, we normally close with borders and borders. We normally do this. So whatever it is, use that to your advantage. So we always close with a real estate attorney to make sure it's done right. So assuming that I see the house and like it, or assuming we hop on a Zoom, whatever it is that you're going to do. Again, I would need to know if you're going to go see it in person. Future pace them to that. Assuming I come see the house and I like the house and you like me, and you know, Borders and Borders checks out. They've been around for 80 years. Would you be ready to consider moving forward at the numbers we discussed? Now we're going to cut through the crap and get to the actual problem. Anytime I've got a credibility question, I clear it up like that with borrowed credibility from whoever it is. So for you, Bruce, I know you've done several deals. For you, you've partnered with a team of nationwide investors who are doing lots of deals. For you, you always close with a real estate attorney and you do it right. I would just be blatantly transparent.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. Next question is, how do we keep ourselves in this mind state? Any particular strategy you use to keep in a positive mind state all the time?
Why
Morning
we're here with you
routines.
every day. It's called entrepreneurial revival. Go ahead,
Keep
Leo.
showing up. Yeah, get rid of the people in your life that don't serve you. And what I mean by get rid of is you can always distance. And just
Back 'em.
get into a new circle. Get into a better circle of people who think like this, and you'll think like this if you spend enough time around them. And then have a morning routine where you can get into this mode every morning. It's a skill. You gotta work on, getting into this mentality every day. But if you don't, the next day you'll go right back to where you were. So it's got to be day after 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 day until the mindset becomes a habit. Like the structures of thinking is a habit in and of itself. That's why it's almost so easy to build a good quality mindset. But if you don't have consistency in thinking, it's tough. So that's why getting around good people is helpful. And hire me and Andrew, quite frankly.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Awesome. Well, for any additional questions, we will have to park those for tomorrow. I know we're out of time, but thank you so much, guys, for all you do.
This is
Of
awesome.
course.
Bring your questions back tomorrow, guys. We're going to be talking about reverse engineering deals. What's the final note that they need to remember for tomorrow, brother?
Spend the rest of your day in the physiology as if you have it all and just see what changes. How do you change how you make calls? How do you change how you talk to your spouse? How do you change how you go to the bathroom? Anything. I don't know. You'll probably change a lot of things if you're in a very successful mind state. So rock and roll, be here tomorrow. And if you're a successful person, you'll probably be here tomorrow on time as well. And you'll probably post on Circle and you'll probably do all these awesome things. So do all that.
Ask your
That's my
questions in
message.
the circle. We answer them there too. Bring your questions back tomorrow. We'll be here again, same place, same time. You guys are
Peace,
awesome.
peace, peace. Much love. Bye.